So in the aftermath of Edward Snowden, NSA, overbearing government, many folks have come to the conclusion that English author George Orwell's nightmare tome, 1984, is right and inevitable. There's no doubt that Orwell got everything right, I think, in my opinion, except one thing perhaps. Government, I don't think that's going to be Big Brother. You know, I think it's going to actually be a combination of Amazon, Google, and Facebook. Now, I can tell you, this isn't about misgivings and concerns that already exist about business disruption or Bezos' grudge against President Trump. It's about unlimited access and power. In fact, one of the quotes that I found interesting is, if you want to keep a secret, you must also hide it from yourself. I mean, think about it. These companies know you better than you know yourself, and they also understand how to manipulate that knowledge. Like Orwell's telescreens, this is about electronic appliances that can listen and spy on you, and they know everything you do and say in private. Newspeak is already happening, right? The new language of acronyms, hashtags, and emojis. Now, as an investor, I've always grappled with the notion for a long time, this whole thing, because, listen, these stocks will probably go a whole lot higher. By the same token, I'm not going to buy an Alexa for my home. Now, this isn't about being a Luddite. This is about losing the kind of freedom that we obviously take for granted, because unlike the NSA and government agencies, that we're actually inviting these companies to spy on us. They don't need courts, they don't need warrants, and they don't even need nefarious tactics to get into our homes. So when it's all said and done, I think that Orwell probably captured this whole thing. That was unavoidable. The choice by Western nations would ultimately make, when he said this, quote, "The choice for mankind lies between freedom and happiness, and for the great bulk of mankind, happiness is better." Here to discuss, Betsy, Woodruff, and Ron Meyer. Betsy, am I just being an old fogey here?
Not at all. In fact, this is a really important point that Aldous Huxley made in his classic dystopian novel, Brave New World. Huxley basically argued a similar point. He argued that Orwell was wrong, and that, in fact, people would lose their freedom because they were so entertained by screens, by entertainment, by pop culture, that they would voluntarily give up a lot of their personal information and a lot of their agency. That's a point Neil Postman makes in his book, Amusing Ourselves to Death, and it's obviously really present, especially the news about Uber, Facebook. All these privacy issues are extremely pressing, and it's a complicated question.
And layer that on, Ron, with our desire to have stuff, right? And our desire for fame. We'll bring in 15 minutes of fame if we want to add another thought there. But, you know, I am concerned about the freedoms that we are giving up and the idea that we're giving it up so freely.
Yeah, well, first of all, you can definitely tell that Betsy Woodruff went to Hillsdale College with all those citations. Second of all, I think you're concerned that Big Brother has become Big Bezos, as in Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, now Whole Foods, now Washington Post, and everything. I think is legitimate, and made me think myself for a long time, is it something we should be afraid of, or is it something we should welcome? Should we welcome Amazon taking over Whole Foods and making food production and food delivery totally innovative and delivering it to our homes in a way that will change our lives? Or should it be something that we're worried about that Amazon and Google and Facebook know too much? I'm not so afraid of the free market, because I think at the end of the day, I can still choose not to be on Facebook. I cannot buy things on Amazon. I cannot purchase things or search on Google, right? But at the end of the day, what I'm concerned about is if the government then takes that power away from them, or says, you have all this data, Google, you have all this data, Amazon, you have all this data, Facebook, you have to give it to us because of quote-unquote security, and totally throwing out the Fourth Amendment like we've seen the NSA do for the last 10 years.
All right, so real quick, guys, I'll start with you, Ron. Do you have Alexa, or do you plan on buying something like that?
You know, I don't have Alexa, and it's not really for those concerns necessarily, but now that you've said it, it made me think about it. But what does annoy me is the cell phone.
Let me ask Betsy, do you have Alexa? You plan on getting one?
Absolutely not. I don't even have Siri. I don't like machines talking to me. I'm basically 85.